guys are all having a great day. So I got a special video for you guys today. We're gonna build a budget rally car, and we're gonna go out and tear the crap out of this thing. So this is an 87 Subaru GL I picked up on Craigslist a couple months ago. I finally got around to working on it. It's got an engine swap in it, and these cars only came with 13-inch rims on them. That's all you could get for them. So I'm gonna show you guys some tips and tricks on how to get some better wheels and tires on it for off-roading. Now, this thing needs a little bit of work to get it running and driving. So without further ado, I want to tell you a little bit about this car, and I want to jump right into it and get it fixed up so we can get out there and start ripping on it. So here we go. Third generation has these big old headlights. The second generation have either a small square light or quad headlights, quad square headlights. So that's how you know. But anywho, we're going to show you the ins and outs on this thing and see what we got going on with her. First thing you'd probably notice is it looks like a garbage bag on the inside, which is as to be expected for the price I paid for it. Not a whole lot of miles on it. There's the little glass thing missing here. Whatever. I ripped all the carpet out of it. The back seat, everything like that. So it does have the 5-speed manual with front-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, and 4-wheel drive low. I'll show you what's going on in the back here. Plenty of room back here, but a little weight reduction in the corners. Maybe some spray foam, not really sure. But she's all de-weighted and whatnot. So there you go. Nice. Okay. Now originally, these came with little, I want to say 1.8 4-cylinder, carbureted or multi-port fuel injection. Yep, carbureted 1.8, modified for high altitude. But what this old beast has got is a 2.2 from a 94 Legacy. I bought this car with the engine already swapped into it. It uses the original transmission. You can see the adapter plate right there. And supposedly use a XT6 clutch, which is another weird Subaru from the 80s and early 90s. But anyways, so the guy gave me this packet when I bought the car. He said this is what he used to swap the engine into it. He said this is a write-up off of a forum, and I looked through it, and there's just tons and tons of information on this thing if you're trying to, you know, do one of these swaps. You can see the thickness in all those pages. But it's super useful, it has everything you need to know in here, you know, so check this out online if you're gonna do one of these swaps, because it has everything you need to know. There's only one flaw to what I found in this is, I don't know if this is on all the 80s Subarus, but the engine, you know, all the wiring came right off the engine harness, and it goes through this fender right here and runs into the actual, where the foot pedals go. And the only problem I found with that is it kind of gets in the way. There's not a whole lot of room under the steering column there for all those wires and the ECU box and everything, so I figured out something different to do. Pretty much the point is you couldn't drive the car because there were so many wires and whatnot hanging down around there. So I decided, you know, instead of running everything through the fender and under the pedals and such and putting the ECU box right there where it's just in the friggin' way, anyways, I decided to run most of it back through the fender. So most of it just comes right off the engine here. Main harnesses, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so everything kind of runs from the battery. You know, a couple of wires feed in through this fender still, but I just rewired it all up here so that the ECU box sits where the original spare tire would sit. And there's a couple of wires that run in the firewall there. And she runs. It might not look like it, but she runs. So I gotta build a little box to keep that nice and watertight and clean up them wires a little bit. Next thing I'd like to show you here is The guy I bought the car from had these Honda Accord rear shocks on it. Not sure why. It raised the rear end up 2 inches, but these things were so darn stiff that it about broke your jaw going down the road. So I figured, you know, why did he raise the rear 2 inches and lift the front? And by the way, in these cars, they're independent suspension, so it really stresses out your CV axles when you lift them. I figured, you know, I don't need a lift, okay? Went down to the old junkyard and picked up a set of stock springs for 20 bucks for the both of them. And now I've got the stock one on this side, but I've still got to replace the Honda one on this side. Supposedly, you can take a Toyota 4Runner 1998 front strut and put that stock coil on it and have better suspension for the rear. Don't know if it's true or not. I ain't done testing on that, but I ain't gonna worry about it. The rims and tires on these things. For whatever reason, you could only get 13-inch rims on these cars, which I have no idea why. It didn't make any sense to me, but you can't hardly find any tires for 13-inch rims. I mean, you go looking for them, you ain't finding them, you know, especially if you want something that's got a little more tread on it than your average, you know, running arounder tire. So as you can see here, we've got the nice, beautiful looking 13-inch rims here with the little donut skidding tires. Probably have about as much traction as a glazed donut, but so that's your first problem, is 4x140. The only other car that's got that is like an 80s Peugeot, which ain't nobody finding those around the United of the States. So what I done did, went on the old cheap bay, eBay, and I picked up a set of these adapters. They're about 100 bucks for all 4 of them. They're 4x140, and this is 4x100. So now you can go ahead and get yourself any wheel that's a 4x100 and use that. But let me show you something. You see this hole right here is where the axle is going to be poking through. And if you look at that one right there, there's nubbins all the way around, 4 of them, that kind of are, you know, help the wheel center and support it and whatnot. So the problem is you got to grind all those down for this to fit. Now, if it was a 2nd generation one of these cars, you'd only have to grind the front. But on this 3rd generation one, the rear drums have this lip on it, whereas the 2nd generation don't have a lip on it. The spacers just bolt right on. But this one, you got to grind this lip down. So let me show you what I picked out for it. So I went down to the old junkyard and I picked up, these are 14-inch aluminum rims. They're 4x100. They're off of a Prius. These are nice wheels actually. So I got them for 100 bucks down at the junkyard. They're aluminum, they're nice and lightweight, and they're the bolt pattern that we want, right? And they're 14-inch. So I went ahead and bought me some cheap snow tires. You can get, you know, 14-inch tire. Pretty easy to find compared to 13, especially this has got a little meat on it. All right, you can see here, we've got the adapter on there, and then our lug nuts go in. You can see that it's not tapered. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually pull one of these off of here and give you an idea of what you gotta do to make these wheels fit. But you can see, they look pretty darn good actually. They poke out just a wee bit, but it fills out the wheel well much better than the factory. Yeah, I mean, just so much better. And for about 400 bucks, you'd have the adapters, a set of rims, and some good snow tires. So might end up spending probably about another 50 bucks in lug nuts. So So as you can see here, the lug nut, these are some Prius lug nuts. They're not tapered or anything. They're just a really solid fit in these holes of these rims. Pretty weird. I didn't know dingle squat about it until I got these rims and learned on them a little. So this is what we're squeezing with. You also got to buy these nice lug nuts for M12 by 125 because they've got a nice large tapered end for the aluminum, whereas the stock lug nut off this car they've been used quite a bit and they're pretty whooped, so didn't want to dig it into the aluminum there. These are billet aluminum adapters made in the US of A that I bought off of eBay. I'll have to link that down there for you guys so you can see a little better. But you seen on the other side it had these nubbins on it, so you gotta grind them down so that they're just slightly lower than this surface, so that your adapter is gonna bolt to this surface out here, and this is nice and ground down. It sits flat, right? All right. But for right now, I've got a couple small things on this. Got to throw my rear shock back on. I got to grind this side down to get my wheels to fit. Need to throw a battery and a battery mount in it. Clean up our digicals a little more. And the starter is grinding when it's running. So I believe it's not the right one, so we're going to do the right thing and just space it out a little bit and see if that'll quiet her down. Other than that though, it runs good, so hopefully I can get her fixed up in a timely manner. Probably not. I don't know. But I'll try to get her fixed up so we can go get some good old donuts or something going in this thing and show you guys just what it's capable of and how much power the 2.2 swap actually adds to one of these things. Not sure where these are all gonna go, but just kidding. Let's get that out of there. So I got the car up in the air here. Thought I'd hook my peepers up under here and see what's going on. And amongst the list of stuff that I have to do on this thing, I got a little sidetracked as usual, and I figured, you know, you don't need an exhaust. Wanted to get a little more sound out of her. But as I'm about to do this, I figured, you know, this reminded me of something. My buddy Jonathan over there, he's got a YouTube channel called Turbo Spoolin'. He's a pretty cool guy, so better go check him out. But anyways, let's get on with it. Before you do this though, you better want to use protection, because I sure know what happens when you don't. That'll give us the sound that we're looking for. Come on. Oh. There we go. Changing on the old oil here. Who knows when that's been changed. So, I just got to put the battery in and the battery mount, and she should be good to go. I mean, obviously there's a ton of other small things that she's going to need, but for now, we can go out and test on her and see how that works. I'm just going to top her up with some of my favorite flavor of oil here. wanted to make sure she's getting all her vitamins and whatnot, you know, so this is gonna have plenty of vitamin E and D and potassium, all kinds of stuff that's gonna be good for her. Plenty of hydration, so be good for the winter time too. I just love how diesel oil looks like it's already been ran through an engine before and bottled back up for your own pleasure, but that's the way she goes. Still got to clean up her digicals and make a little box for it, but other than that, we're all good to go. I guess we'll see how the brakes work. I think my front shock up there is blown out, but we'll see how she rides otherwise. I want to note something. You know, I just bought some regular old lug nuts and, well, what do you know? So that ain't gonna work because the rim's got to bolt flat to that. So I did the right thing and, you know, sent the lug nuts back and waited 6 years for some new ones, but no, I didn't. I just introduced them to the old death wheel and gave them a good haircut, so mint. I'm gonna go ahead and torque these spacers down to 75 foot-pounds, which is the factory lug nut torque spec. And then I'll also tighten down the actual wheel lug nuts to 75 foot-pounds. So I bought a new starter for this, threw it in, and I told you earlier it was grinding while the thing was running. So I figured out that you gotta probably use the original Subaru starter, but I bought one for a Legacy, so I had to take 17 hours and mill those down and CNC them and everything like that to get some 1-inch spacers in there. It should really be like 3/4 of an inch, but that's all I had lying around, so those should work fine. We'll see how that does. All right, got the battery hooked up and wires still need to be cleaned up and make a box for that. That's about the last thing that needs to be done, maybe a timing belt, but let's fire it up and see how it runs. Too bad, runs okay. Oh yeah. This thing's gonna eat. It's already starting to snow out today. It's supposed to get 2 to 4 inches today, so let's hope for that. We can test out these tires. When it started, did it? Cleaning up the digicals just a wee bit, but years of stuff burning off. Just years of it. Yep. Back to brand new though. That'll all come right around. Tell me you got that.
Yeah.
What broke? I heard something break. It sounded like an axle broke in the back here. Because look, I hit this
And look, only this side of the car was on the ground right here. The other tires touched right here. It goes sideways. Let me come back through it.
Alright, well I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I know I didn't rip it too much in that video, but I'm going to make a video solely on that thing, just ripping it. I want to take it out to the mountains or something like that, do some trail riding. Not sure yet. You guys should definitely comment what you guys think I should do next with this vehicle. And I want to thank you guys for watching again. I mean, I had a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And I had a lot of fun doing this, so hopefully you guys had fun watching it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.